नमस्ते यतिराजाय विवेकानंद सूरये सच्चित् सुख स्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे. Good evening. Hello and welcome to everyone. My name is Swami Kalesananda. The topic of my webinar is meditation for healthy living. Health is a resource, and it is the duty of every person to maintain good health. Health can be attained by various means. But here, we'll be discussing about how meditation can contribute to health. The general perception about meditation is that it leads to liberation. And very few people know that meditation also contribute to health. Especially when one talks about health, generally they think about Hatha Yoga. Of course, Hatha Yoga contribute to health in a great amount. But Raja Yoga, that is a yoga of the mind, mainly meditation, it can also efficiently manage our health much more better than Hatha Yoga. In my discussion, at first, I'll be discussing about the theoretical aspects of meditation and healthy living, and we'll see the science behind it, what is happening, how it is happening. Afterwards, I'll be discussing about the techniques. So, first of all, we have to know what meditation or dhyana is. The technical definition of dhyana is pratyaya ekatanata dhyanam. In Patanjali Yoga Sutras, it is mentioned that desabandha chittasya dharana and tatra pratyaya ekatanata is dhyanam. Pratyaya is the knowing state of mind, and ekatanata, maintaining the same, that vritti or mental modification. For example, if somebody is thinking about a particular object, say A, then every moment that one mental vritti will come for a few seconds, and next another vritti will come. But one has to maintain that ekatanata, that is the continuity of that particular pratyaya. So dhyana must be uninterrupted stream. Like, for example, somebody is pouring oil from one vessel to another. So there is uninterrupted, that continuity is there. So that type of continuity would be there in a particular object or space. That means dharana, if it is extended for a certain amount of time, it becomes dhyana. Dharana is holding the attention on a particular object or space. Desabandha chittasya dharana. Dharana is chittasya desabandha, just confining the chitta in a particular place or space. It is called dharana. Swami Vivekananda is telling that generally our concentration for any object is around 3 seconds. So for dharana, one has to maintain that concentration or one pointed focus for at least 12 seconds. So dharana is mainly contributed by the conscious mind. When you're talking about meditation, generally 3 terms we have to concern about. First one is dhyana, second one is dharana, and third one is samadhi. Dharana is related to the conscious mind. Of course, we are having conscious mind, subconscious mind, and unconscious mind or superconscious mind. But here, in case of dharana, conscious mind, it plays a major role. For example, if you want to fix your attention on a particular object, after a few seconds, you'll be finding that your mind is going to some other objects. You are going to past or going to future. So that is our problem. We cannot fix our attention on a particular object. And concentration is the only way to acquire knowledge. So dharana is essential, and it can be practiced by anybody, whether he is practicing Ashtanga Yoga or not. And generally people, especially the students, the scientists, etc., they are having sufficient amount of dharana. That's why they're able to concentrate on a particular thing and they are getting the knowledge and they discover something. So dharana is very, very important. Though we are telling meditation, technically meditation is extended dharana, but quality-wise it is different, because it is not only the uninterrupted stream of one-pointed focus, it is not simply the extended dharana, it is maintained by the subconscious mind. And subconscious mind is the repository of all our latent impressions. That is technically called sanskara. Vritti is a mental modification. It is taking place at the level of conscious mind. You can think of mind as a lake or as an ocean in which the waves are like that our mental vrittis or mental modifications. And the depth of the mind, that is very important, because waves comes and goes. But its impression remains in the subconscious mind. And bundle of sanskaras is our personality. And this sanskara guides our mind until unless our viveka is developed. So dharana is important. Before dhyana, one should go through dharana. And generally people practice it unconsciously, but here, in case of meditation, one has to practice it consciously. Dharana is a conscious process. Dhyana is a subconscious process in which one has to maintain consciousness. And Swami Vivekananda, he's telling that time-wise, one has to maintain at least 144 seconds, that is 12 times of dharana, is dhyana. And for to qualify a particular dhyana to become samadhi, time is one factor. 12 times of dhyana is samadhi, and that is about 1728 seconds or 29 minutes, around half an hour. That is one aspect. But samadhi is, according to the technical definition given by Patanjali, it is telling that Tadeva arthamartha nirvasam sarupasunyam eva samadhi. So, in case of dhyana, that the dhyata, dheya, and the dhyana process, meditation process, the subject and the object of concentration remains there. The three parts remains there. But in case of samadhi, so the artha that is remaining in the mind, that only remains. Swarupa sunyam iva. Even he is forgetting himself. As if forgetting is there, but he is forgetting himself. What does it mean? It means that the total mind energy, mind is composed of the conscious mind, upper part of the ocean, you can think of that one, in which light is there, and that subconscious mind, in which light is penetrating, light of consciousness is penetrating to some extent. And third one is the unconscious mind. Samadhi is mainly related to the unconscious mind, in which the light of consciousness is penetrating and making it super conscious. So here, in our discussion, we'll be confining ourselves to dhyana and dharana only. Samadhi one has to practice, except you don't practice the Ashtanga Yoga, Samadhi is very difficult to attain. Theoretically, it can be attained. It can be happen in any Chitta Bhumi state. Maybe Kshipta, maybe Vikshipta, maybe Mudha, maybe Ekagra, maybe in the Chitta Bhumi state of that Niruddha Bhumi. But Samadhi to qualify as yoga, it has to take place in the Bhumi of Ekagrata, in which Sattva Gunas are there. And in the Niruddha Bhumi is beyond 3 gunas. So Samadhi, which is taking place in Ekagra Bhumi and Niruddha Bhumi, it is actually yoga. Here, in our, when we are talking about how to just employ meditation for healthy living, we'll be just considering about dharana, that is mindfulness meditation. Second one is relaxation and visualization techniques. And third one is that short meditation with clear health goals. So I'll be explaining these things in my subsequent slides. So now, health for whom? Now we have to analyze that who am I? So that I has 2 aspects. One is absolute I, that is pure consciousness, that is our real nature, which is unmanifested, uncaused, unaffected, passive, attributeless, eternal, and all-pervading reality. It is simple consciousness. It is not jara. It is not inert. Whatever we are seeing around us, including our body, etc., panchakosa, etc., 3 bodies, etc., all are prakriti, all are relative I. Health is related to this relative I aspect, not to the absolute I aspect. So Jnana Yogis, they are mostly concentrate on the absolute I aspect, pure consciousness, Satchidananda, and that Raja Yogis, they consider both, the relative I also, the absolute I also. And what is this relative I? Simply, it is reflected consciousness in our 3 bodies. It is associated with the 3 bodies, and 3 bodies as if become conscious. We are having 5 seats. This means which covers the Atman, the consciousness. And these 5 seats are Annamaya Kosa, made up of food, and that is gross, that we can feel, we can touch. And second body, that is the subtle body, Sukshma Sarira, that is made up of Pranamaya Kosa, Manamaya Kosa, and Vijnanamaya Kosha. Pranama is the prana, because we are doing some work, we are thinking. So when you are physically doing work, so Pranamaya Kosa is just acting or superimposed on the physical body, and the whole actions are taking place. Manamaya Kosa is the thinking part. We are thinking, that means some actions are going on. And Vijnanamaya Kosa is the buddhi. It is ascertaining something, Nishchatmika buddhi. And the third sarira, that is much more subtle, that is called the causal body, Karana Sarira. And it is also called the Anandamaya Kosa, because as if lots of Ananda is coming from this kosa. This kosa is very transparent. It is very near to that absolute self. Though the source of all Ananda, all bliss, is coming from the absolute I, the real consciousness. But as the Anandamaya kosa is very transparent, very swatik, it is full of sattva guna. So it can transfer or emit that bliss. So in this meditation, we will be considering all these panchakosas. These are very important, starting from Annamaya Kosa, that is the grossest part, and going to the Anandamaya Kosa, that is the subtlest part and finest part. And the causal body is the Anandamaya Kosa. It is that control room which is controlling that subtle body also and the gross body also. So this relationship we must know, we must understand. So meditation is about understanding about the knowledge. It is not simply sitting and relaxing. That is one part. But it is, meditation is for gaining knowledge. To know who am I? about the gross body, about the subtle body, about the 24 tattvas. So that we'll be knowing. And healthy living is concerned with this apparent I, not the absolute I. Then what are the major goals of meditation? First one is Tattva Jnana. What is Tattva? There is a principle that microcosm or macrocosm is composed of the 24 principles, that is Prakriti principle, made up of 3 gunas and its manifestation as Abhyakta Prakriti, then Mahat, then Ahankara, then Pancha Jnanendriya, Pancha Karmendriya, mind, organ of actions. Karmendriya means organ of actions. Pancha Jnanendriya, 5 Jnanendriyas, organ of knowledge, and mind. And Pancha Tanmatra, that is the Sukshma Mahabhuta and Mahabhuta. Pancha Mahabhuta, that is the earth element, then water element, fire element, air element, and that ether element. And Sabda, Spasa, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha are the Tanmatras. So these are the 24 Prakriti principles. We are composed of all these 24 Prakriti principles, and consciousness is there. So it appears that the gross body, though it is inert, it is made up of that 3 gunas. It appears to be conscious, the mind appears to be conscious, and the intellect appears to be conscious. So Tattvagana is the first important part. And second important part is that Viveka Khyati. It is a discernment between the consciousness and the Prakriti. That is, Prakriti is the inert principle and consciousness is different from the Prakriti. So one must know, first one must know the reflected consciousness and how it is different from the Buddhi on which it is reflecting. So the Viveka Khyati, and after Viveka Khyati, one can go for further Samadhi. So Samadhi is to attain the Swastha state. There are different steps in Samadhi. We are not going to discuss all things, but it's the Swastha state. Generally in Sanskrit and Bengali, Swastha means remaining in healthy. So when one remains in the pure consciousness state, that is the Swastha state. And it's the state of Bhyoga, detachment from the Prakriti. One just identifying oneself with the Buddhi and thinking that I am the Buddhi. So this is the yoga, it is one type of Sanyoga. And here, the goal of meditation is to know that I am different from the Prakriti, especially Buddhi. And it is the way to transcend all the sorrows. And it is the state of Kaivalya or liberation. It is the freedom from the Prakriti. This is the view of Raja Yoga. But here, in our discussion, we'll be dealing mainly with the secondary goal. There may be numbers of secondary goals of meditation. Through meditation, one can achieve number of extraordinary powers, but we are not going for those things. Here, we'll be concerning about the health and well-being of our 3 bodies and 5 seats. Health is a dynamic concept, so one has to maintain, one has to strive for it. What is the next? What is the concept of health? So, the World Health Organization, in the 1998, it has given health is a dynamic state of complete physical, mental, spiritual, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. Physical, mental, we all understand. But what is the spiritual? Spiritual means some ennoble ideas, some virtues, some ethics. And social well-being is social interaction. You are contributing to positively contributing to the society. The 1948 definition of WHO, there the dynamic, that concept was not there. And the spiritual, that term is also not there. Afterwards, they have added. So health is a dynamic thing that we all know by our experience. And health is a resource, is a national resource, personal resource. And one has to, and not only one, the country has to also has to develop in an integrated way, in a planned way, to get a quality life, to fulfill the personal and community goals, and to handle the stress situation. health simply does not mean that we don't have any disease or infirmity. We must know how to handle the stress situations. But the Eastern concept of holistic health is that simply it is the order or balance in one's Prakriti. I told Prakriti it is 3 gunas, and it is having 24 principles or tattvas, different manifestation of the Prakriti. And order is the rhythm, the law. Prakriti follows a particular law. When the laws are violated in different tattvas, different types of laws are there. So when one violates the laws, then one feels that one is having that sickness or disorder. So when there is order or balance, that means it is dominated by Sattva Guna. How to attain this order or balance? Go towards Sattva Guna. I'll be just afterwards telling what Sattva Guna's different attributes are. And ultimate health is the swastha state, remaining in pure consciousness. Of course, we are not discussing it here. And in Prakriti also, ultimate health can be attained when one just become identified with the Mahat. In fact, we are part of Mahat, the cosmic intelligence. It is also called, loosely called the Hiranyagarbha. It is full of Sattva Guna. When there is full of Sattva Guna is there must be health. And our healthy living mainly concerned with the 5 Cs and the 3 bodies. So one must be having order, balance of the 5 Cs. One must know the laws of our gross body, of our subtle body. Subtle body consists of pranamaya, manamaya, vijnanamaya kosha, and the causal body, that is the anandamaya kosha. For what purpose? To attain or achieve the fulfillment or goals of life, that is dharma, righteousness, artha. Artha means money, etc. And the kama, the different desires, or the basic necessities of life is artha, and kama means that is sukha bhoga, trying to find out the pleasures in life, and ultimately moksha. So health is for the goals of life, that is dharma, artha, and kama, and moksha. Now the concept of disease. So disease is the opposite of health, that is some disorder or imbalance in Prakriti. So there are different levels of diseases. For example, when one identifies oneself with the causal body, then a secondary I sense, asmita, is developed, that is called pragya. Of course, we are enjoying the status of pragya very clearly in the susupti state, dreamless sleep state. The second level of identification is with the subtle body, mainly with the buddhi, and that is called Tejasa. And the effect of Tejasa will be seen most prominently when you are in the dream state. Dream state is enjoyed by the Tejasa. And third level of identification with our gross body. At present, I am just talking to you, and you are hearing me. Which ego you are using? That is the Viswa ego. One name is given, that is the Viswa ego. So disease means when you are identifying with something else which is not yourself. You are not the gross body, you are not the subtle body, you are not the causal body, still you are identifying with that one. And anything affecting you, that is the Prakriti, not you as a consciousness. So even if you are dead, you are not dead. Your physical body may be dead, but you are there in the subtle body. But subtle body, that means mind, buddhi, it is having also lots of problem. One has to clear those things also. And in pragya state, problems also there, tamaguna there, rajaguna there. So problems are there in causal body also. Generally, these are very subtle. That pranamaya to that anandamaya kosha, these are very subtle. So we don't understand how it is working. We are mainly thinking that health means health of the gross body. But if you want to maintain health of the gross body, you have to concern about all the panchakosas, all the three bodies, because all are superimposed and working together. If some imbalance happen in a particular kosa or particular sheath, the cascading effect goes to the other kosas also. Apart from the three levels of disease, fourth level of disease is there. When one is identifying with some other aspects of life, one is thinking that I am tall, I am fair, I am having this degree. So this type of limited adjuncts, somebody is just adopting. So at that time also we are having some problem. This is the root cause of the diseases. And we'll be discussing about the fourth level of disease, in which we are taking a secondary, another relative eye we are having. So it is having far more coverings that constitute that our fourth level, that is our existence. And that causes lots of disease in the mind, in the prana. And afterwards, those are expressing the gross body. And now, how the disease is developed in the body. See, according to our Shastras, in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, it is mentioned that Klesamula Karmasayo Drishta Adrishta Janma Vedaniya Satumule Tadvipako Jatair Bhogaha Te Lada Paritapa Palaha Punya Punya Hetutva. So, Karmasaya, that is that repository of karmas. When avidya is there, then the repository of karmas, they are having their own phala, and that has to be enjoyed either in this path or next path. So long as avidya is there, and that experience will be in the form of a jati or the lifespan or that bhoga or the enjoyments, maybe sukha or maybe dukkha, pleasure or pain. And the pleasure and pain is depending on the karma, whether it is punya karma or apunya karma, that is you are doing virtuous work or some wicked actions you are doing. So that in Prakriti law is there, law of karma. It is following the law of karma. So if somebody is doing wrong karmas, so the effects remains there. Some effects immediately will be getting, and some effects will be remaining as the karmic residues in the causal sheath. And that may be sanchita karma, and prarabdha karma, which is about to give fruits. Your body is now, it is the effect of prarabdha karma, and agami karma is there. That is the future karma that will be enjoyed in the future life, whether good or bad, but depending on your karmas, whether you are doing good karma or bad karma, wrong karmas. But generally the wrong karmas, they generate wrong vibrations. Whatever karma you are doing, physical karma, etc., they are experienced in the mind or antakarana. Mana, buddhi, chitta, ahankara is antakarana. Ahankara of three types, egos of three types. That means it is covering your subtle body as well as your causal body. And wrong vibration in the mind that adversely affect your causal body, and it remains there as a karmic residues, and that has to be enjoyed in this life. So any disease condition or any other condition, whatever you are enjoying, your own experience, good or bad, that is due to this prarabdha or simply the karma, prarabdha which is giving fruit. And it causes wrong vibration. Wrong vibration at the causal state, and that vibration, it will influence the subtle body also. So it will be just appearing as adhi. Mental disease is called adhi. And that disease in the intelligence or buddhi is called sara. That's simply the ajnana. One is thinking that I am the body, so I have to enjoy. So this type of thinking, wrong thinking. Aviveka. Thinking anitya vastu as nitya vastu, or that jada or inert thing as that conscious thing. So that is Sara. Due to that, one is stuck in the cycle of transmigration. So the wrong vibration in the subtle state that goes to transfer to the gross state. So when mind is affected, especially that our subconscious mind is affected, adversely affected. So it transfers that effect, especially in case of psychosomatic disease. And here we are seeing that every disease has some relationship with our subtle body and causal body. Even our immunity power, etc., also has some relationship with this, our subtle body as well as our causal body. And the wrong vibration transferred to our gross body, and it expressed as disease, as a full-fledged disease. Now, we'll be seeing that the wrong vibration at the gross state is caused by the wrong karmas. But why people do wrong karmas? It is due to avidya, ignorance of one's real nature as consciousness. And avidya, it generates asmita, the ego, the reflected consciousness in our three bodies. And asmita gives rise to raga, dvesa, and that avinivesa, attachment, aversion, and clinging to life out of fear of death. That is called avinivesa. Raga is attachment, dvesa is aversion. So people do karma out of this raga, dvesa, or avinivesa. Either they're doing right karma or wrong karma, and they are just developing their own karma saya, wrong karma saya. And they have to just reaping their fruits of their own actions. So these avidya, asmita, raga, dvesa, avinivesa, these are the pancha klesas, 5 afflictions. And the goal of yoga is to just get rid of these afflictions. So how to do that one? Here in Patanjali Yoga Sutras, it is mentioned that Dhyana Heyas Tad Vritteya. Of course, Ashtanga Yoga is one path, Kriya Yoga is another path, another way of doing things. But the subtle things, that vrittis or subtle klesas or afflictions, that can be removed by the dhyana also. And much more subtle can be just removed by the dissolving the mind in the abhyakta prakriti that we are not discussing here. So, so what is the role of physical body in healthy living? See, we have seen that disease is originating from the causal state due to our prarabdha and expressing in the gross body. But it is very difficult to control that causal body. How to influence the causal body? In fact, influencing means changing the karma in the causal body. We are having the conscious mind. We are in the Jagrata avastha, in the waking state. We have control over our conscious mind as well as physical body. So we have to change this one. We have to go in the opposite way. That means from the conscious mind to subconscious mind in the subtle body, and to the causal body. So in the opposite way, we have to go and we have to tackle the wrong karmas with right karmas. And what are those right karmas? In Gita 16th chapter, you'll be finding, 13th chapter, you'll be finding that Abhayam Sattva Samsuddhir Jnana Yoga Bhavasthiti Dhanam Dhamascha Yajnascha Swadhyastava Arjavam Ahimsa Satyam Akurda Tyaga Santi Rapeshanam. So many that gunas, sattva gunas, qualities are mentioned there. One has to practice, otherwise simply go for Jama Niyama. Ahimsa Satyastya Brahmacharya Pregraha, then Shausha Santas Tapas Swadhyastha Parindhana. So it creates a positive vibration. In one hand, negative vibrations are there. So how to tackle those one negative vibration? And negative vibration generated by the causal body, positive vibration generated by our conscious mind. And they meet together in our subconscious mind. So tug of war is going on between our conscious mind and our causal body, or the unconscious mind is going on. So it is a constant struggle. And what is the effect? That which of the sanskaras in the subconscious mind is just activated, because our thoughts are remained in the sanskara mind as seed, and it just germinate and germinate as a tree. This means full-fledged vritti. And when something is generated as full-fledged vritti, we are experiencing that one. Disease or health, those experiences, when they are expressed in our conscious mind as a vritti, that time we are experiencing it. Otherwise, we cannot experience that one. So we have to tackle that our the causal body, whatever may be there, the wrong karmas with the right karmas, and right karmas, especially when the spiritual aspect in the first stage. So he has to change his thinking, his behavior, his feelings. The whole antarkarna has to be made sattik. Antarkarna means mana, buddhi, chitta, ahankara. So physical body that can be directly manipulated by our conscious action, and that is the starting point. So physical body is also helping us to achieve the healthy living. And right food, right exercise, hatha yoga, etc., right actions, rest, right maintenance of the body, these of course are required. That comes under our healthy lifestyle, that achara, vichara, ahara, vihara. So that is there, that what we are, our daily routines, our actions, and our thoughts. Vichara means our thoughts. Ahara means what type of food. Everything should be sattik. Sattik food we should take. And that vihara means recreation. So everything should be right. We are not discussing those parts. We'll be just focusing on that meditation part only here. But those are very, very important. Because we are meditating with a particular mind, the quality of mind is important. For example, if you are sowing seed in the field, you are thinking that only seed is very important. No, the field is also, that soil is also very important. The management is also very important. And so one has to just tend the field or manage the field in a proper way. So Yama Niyama, Astanga Yoga, one has to just think of especially the first 4 or 5 steps very consciously. And in meditation, generally physical body has to maintain a steady state. That's called asana. That is required because asana helps in dhyana. If you don't have asana, you cannot sit for a long hours, more than 2 hours or 1 hour. If you want to sit for meditation, so asana is must required. Tato dando anubhighataha. So that time one is not just adversely affected by the extremes of nature, in terms of temperature, in terms of pleasure, pain, etc. And body-based meditation, especially mindfulness. For example, your belly is moving, the movement of your belly. So that can be used for mindfulness practice, especially for the aspirants of level 1 who is first starting this meditation practice. For them it is very important, body-based meditation, mindfulness meditation. And strong, healthy body is fit for yoga. So healthy body is very important. The physical body plays a very important role. All the 5 bodies play a very important role, all the 5 koshas. So first, this one is Annamaya kosha. So what is role that we are taking? So it is very important. And in Gita, you have seen that we have to follow the path of that optimality, that optimum path, middle path we have to follow. Bhagavan Buddha also followed that same path. So yukta arvyarasya yukta jastasya karmasu yukta swapna bodhasya yoga bhavati dukkha. So yukta. So the optimum path, the middle path one has to follow. And next is the role of pranamaya kosha. Prana is associated with all the 3 bodies. It's a part of the prakriti. 3 gunas are there, movement is there. Wherever energy is there, movement is there, prana is there in the 3 bodies. So if somebody is control prana, he can control anything in this world. Swami is telling. The whole world is composed of 2 things. One is akasa, that is primordial matter. When pralaya is there, dissolution is there, all the jada, solid liquid gases, inner things are just going back to the primordial matter, and prana is the whole energy, the primordial energy. So prana is acting on akasa to manifest anything. If you are having health or disease, it is simply the action between the prana and akasa. So one has to control the prana, and the control of prana or extension of prana is called pranayama. In Raja Yoga, pranayama means kumbhaka, a retention of that prana. It is not simply the air or the inhalation or exhalation or breathing, simply which causes breathing, which causes movement of heart, of our lungs, that is prana. And one has to control prana. Prana can be controlled by bodily actions, If somebody is playing, running, etc., he is unconsciously just conditioning his prana also. Through pranayama, also traditional pranayama, Anulam Bilama, then Bhastrika, Kapalbhati, then Surya Vedi, Chandra Vedi, Sitali, Ujjayi, whatever may be. So many pranayamas are there, and especially Kumbhaka. So by that also one can control prana. And third way is by your mind and buddhi. In meditation, meditation is nothing but controlling mind. Without prana, how mind will just act? Chitta vrittis are generated when prana is there. So prana is everywhere. So in meditation also, effectively prana can be controlled. If somebody wants to have health, one can do yogasana, etc. also, exercise also. That will give some effect. But much more effect one can get when one is doing pranayama. And much more effect one can get if somebody is controlling prana through meditation. And much more effect one can get when one is controlling prana through the knowledge aspect, jnana yoga. So prana just prana is influenced by one's own karmas that I told. And the karmas are done at the physical level, at the mental level, all the 5, 6th level, or the 3 bodies level. And it's expressed in our behaviors, feeling, thoughts, ideas, basic beliefs, joys, etc. So one must control these things because these are the expressions of the pranas, one behaviors, one feelings, one thoughts, one ideas. If you're thinking good thoughts, that means you are conditioning prana, you are not knowing. In yama, ahimsa, satya, astya, brahmacharya, aprigya, what you are doing, that is also one way to manage prana. That's why without doing any sangyama is a very technical term, it consists of dharana and samadhi, and one is to just having prayoga. The application of that in different bhumis. 24 tattvas are there, one to apply it to have knowledge. So to get that siddhi, supernatural powers. But if somebody is established in yama, ahimsa, satya, astya, brahmacharya, aprigya, one can easily get those things. Ahimsa pratishtham tatsannidho vairatyagaha. Satya pratishtham kriyaphala asratvam. So kriyaphala asratvam means whatever you are thinking, it will come true. If you are thinking I will be healthy, it will be healthy. Just by thinking, but one has to establish. And what does establish means? You will be established in truth or in all your mind, not only in conscious mind, but in subconscious mind, unconscious mind, every mind, in total mind. It may take at least 12 years or so. It depends on the subject, on the aspirant. And Bhairatyaga, nobody is doing hingsa or violence or think wrong thoughts towards you. Not only human being, the animals, the bacteria, viruses, etc. So love. If you are just having meditation on love, it is a very excellent meditation. Highest kind of pranic vibration you are generating. And next is the prarabdha karma. Simply prarabdha karma, simply it is as a wrong type of prana that is there in our causal body. And it is transferred from Anandamaya Kosha to Vijnanamaya Kosha to Manamaya Kosha to Pranamaya Kosha to Annamaya Kosha. That is from the most subtlest kosha to most grossest seat. That is our physical body. When something is appeared in the physical body, then we just know that disease has appeared. But before that is there in the prana. So if you change the prana, means that the deficiency or the excess, so there will be no disease. So pranayama can help in a great way. That meditation can help in a great way. And nowadays people are not just applying this meditation for that health aspect. Some people used to say, no, why to do meditation? I am not bothered about liberations, etc. But everybody is bothering about health. Health is everybody's business. For a yogi, for a rogi, for a bhogi. Bhogi means worldly people who want sense enjoyment. And yogi is a spiritual aspirant or spiritual adept. And rogi is the sick person. So everybody wants health. And prarabdha karma is mostly just influencing his enjoyment in the form of disease or infirmity or dormanasya, not feeling well in the mind, though everything is okay. So in this way, the wrong prana is transferred from the subtlest kosa, that is the prarabdha karma in the causal body, to the grossest form. And all the 5 bodies are superimposed and one is influencing other. So if you just manipulate one body, one seat, Annamaya kosha, you can influence the other kosas also. But one must remember that the subtle kosa is much more powerful. And it is the cause of the gross seat or gross body. So causal body is the cause of the subtle body, causal body is the cause of the gross body also. Because Jatyayur Bhoga is coming from this one. And the whole Jagat is nothing but that prana, Jaidam Kincha Jagat Sarvam Prana Ejati Nishritam. So from the Brahman, that when the Jagat just come out, so it is now just vibrating in prana, everything is prana. Energy is prana, matter is also some lower vibration of prana only. So differentiation of the prana and matter will find up to Mahat, and after Mahat, when there is Abhyakta Prakriti, unmanifested Prakriti, you will be not finding the prana, etc. Prana and that matter, both will become one. And we have to manipulate this prana by various way. Faith is another way. Faith and belief also another way to just manipulate prana. Always having joy, always having positive feelings, etc. So positive feeling, positive mental is very important. Now I have to go fast because time is very less. So mind is also having some role in meditation. So mind here will be concentrating on the conscious mind, the subconscious mind. So in meditation, one can directly go to the subconscious mind and can just change their sanskaras, that latent impressions are there, just by mentally thinking process. Or the in conscious way, he can just follow the yama, niyama, etc. And in most of the people, sanskara, the latent impression, that is their own personality or the character that is guiding their likes, dislike, or goals of life, etc. Until unless viveka is developed. Viveka is the discernment between the that is the nitya vastu and nitya vastu, that's permanent thing. That is the consciousness and the inner thing. There's the prakriti. So until unless viveka is developed, one is guided by the sanskara. And mind is just influenced by the stimuli from the external environment as well as from the internal environment. Internal environment means this the subconscious mind. And mind, with the help of senses, generally they perceive the sense objects. So that is very important. We must know mind is going. If mind is not there, simply sense that indriya golaka in our physical body, that sense organ in the physical body, they cannot perceive thing. If your mind is somewhere else, even your eyes are open, you cannot see it. So, so we must know this relationship. And second thing, that it can also withdraw from the senses. That is called pratyahara. Pratyahara is very important before dharana. Simply one cannot sit and have dharana, one must have pratyahara. Pratyahara means one is having control over his senses. One is established in pratyahara means one is having control over his senses. And all sense organs are mainly in the mind, in the subtle body. And positive states in the mind, especially when one is conscious, they give that positive health at the physical level also. And that healthy living should include that social interaction with others, thinking about goods about others. We should not be selfish. We should think about others also. It is the community health, not only that your personal health. And next is the intellect. Intellect is the driver in the whole of our 3 bodies. Especially it is the starting point. And from this point, we can control our mind, our sanskaras. But it is colored by our sanskaras, by the external stimuli and our causal seat. So ego management is very important. And especially when one prays to God, one lowers the ego. Or consciously also one can lower one's ego. So ego management is a different part. So in that also our intellect plays a very good role. And next is the bliss seat, from which that prarabdha starts, is called Anandamaya Kosha, because lots of bliss are generated from here. But here also you'll be finding Tamoguna, Rajoguna, Mala of Tamoguna, Rajoguna, though this is mainly consists of Sattaguna, but Mala of Tamoguna, Rajoguna is there. That's why one is not just enjoying the bliss continuously. And this bliss is transferred to the subtle body. Ultimately, we are feeling it in our conscious level, in this waking state. So it is the control room. So the goal is to just change the control room. If control room is changed, then everything will be okay. So healthy bliss body that contributes to our overall health and well-being. Next, what are the issues related to the healthy living? See, so we have seen that problem started from the causal body. So how to maintain the expression of Sattva-guna? If Sattva-guna is there, that means health will be there, order would be there. So there will be no disease, especially in the causal body state. And the prarabdha karma will be attenuated, if not totally destroyed. And how to develop viveka jnana in the intellect state, in the intellectual seat. There is the Vijnanamaya Kosha. So those things are given in that Yoga Sutra or in Jnana Yoga also. It is there, Viveka Jnana is there. And then next is that how to replace the tamasic and rajasic sanskaras with that of that sattvic sanskaras. So that is another challenge for meditation. You must have some goal in meditation, not simply sitting and relaxing. You have to see what sanskars are there. If you sit with your eyes closed, so outside that stimuli, they are not influencing you much, but that inside, internal environment, especially sanskaras, those are coming at your conscious mind as the vrittis. That time you are seeing what type of vrittis are there. And vrittis are there means corresponding sanskars are there. At that time, you can change those sanskaras or simply just be aloof, just as a sakshi, as an observer, look at that one. Don't be one with that particular vritti, just identifying oneself with a particular vritti and react. Don't react, simply observe. And how to maintain the positive health, that is there in Hatha Yoga and other medical science, you'll be finding that one. And integrated management approach should be adopted to dissolve that health-related problem in the 5 C's. So that is very important. And here we are just concerning about the meditation, how it can change the health condition of our 3 bodies and 5 C's. So meditation, from meditation we are gaining knowledge, and knowledge is the panacea for all the problems of our life, not only health, any problem. And knowledge can be gained by only one way, that is concentration, and concentration in the form of dharana and samadhi. And when these 3 together is combined, that means your mind is totally focused. Your conscious, subconscious, unconscious, or superconscious mind is totally focused. It becomes superconscious. At that time, if you focus on any problem, so that solution will reveal in your mind. So you can become master of the Prakriti, whole Prakriti. In the microcosm, your body, or the macrocosm, the outside world or outside cosmos. So you can control everything else. So here, when you're talking about the health and healthy living, that means we are talking about that taking control over our 3 bodies and 5 C's by gaining knowledge. Knowledge is power. And meditation is the 7th limb of Ashtanga Yoga of Patanjali. So one must just develop that or establish in the 6 yogas prior to that dhyana. Meditation is dhyana. That means yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana. One must establish in that one. After that, one can go for that dhyana part. And meditation for holistic health, of course, we are taking care of 5 C's and 5 pancha klesas. And if we just destroying the avidya is the root klesas, on it is the foundation of all the klesas, avidya, asmita, raga, desa, vinivesa. So avidya is the foundation. If avidya is destroyed, then all other things are destroyed. But to catch hold of avidya is very difficult. So we try to catch hold of asmita. It is also very difficult to catch hold of asmita. So generally we concentrate on the raga and desa. Through mindfulness practice, what are the different vrittis are there in our mind, whether we are having liking or attachment or aversion of something else, we are taking care of that one. And meditation should be practiced with Shraddha. Shraddha is very, very important. Without Shraddha, one cannot gain anything in meditation spiritual life. And Virya, that is enthusiasm, that mindfulness about his own nature, especially that his consciousness nature. And it will result in Samadhi and Prajna. Prajna is the wisdom. Wisdom is highest wisdom, that I am consciousness. And one should live the life of meditation, whether sitting or working. And what are the different tools? Generally, tools here will be using a chitta prasadhanam, prasannata. one must be having the feelings. It is the feeling management, feeling of friendliness, compassion, or indifference or joy, depending on the situation to whom we are interacting with. The details, the time is not there, so I cannot discuss in detail. Then second thing is that ekatattva abhyasa. One must just consider a particular tattva, especially the asmita tattva. Asmita tattva. Asmita means that the I sense tattva, or the Iswara tattva, or the Mahat tattva, and focusing on that one. And third one is the Pratipaksha Bhavana. If disease is there, what is the Pratipaksha Bhavana? There is the health. So thinking about the health. And another thing is that if some yogi, especially Bhutajaya, especially in Yoga Sutra is given there, so if he is accomplished that Bhutajaya and Indriyajaya, or he is having Viveka Khyati, so he will be master of the Prakriti. So he not only is having health for himself, he can bestow health to others. Because whatever the situation, conditions, or chemicals, or bacteria, virus, or that is the causal agent of diseases, etc., whatever may be, so everything comes under Prakriti, and he is a master of the Prakriti. Of course, it is a high state, a yogi of high state can attain these things. For others, we have to focus on the Pratipaksha Bhavana, or focusing on particular health aspect, especially thinking I am healthy. Whenever a disease state comes, generally our mind vibrates, especially the subconscious mind, I am having the disease. Just have the opposite idea and remain there. Have dharana, have dhyana. The disease will go away. So here the principles of meditation. Generally, I will be not just telling you that the meditation techniques as such as a practical. Here the principle I will be discussing, Yama Niyama, is a must to our train, our that conscious, subconscious, and conscious mind. And before, these are the steps. And second is that light exercise and yoga postures should be done before meditation, which energizes the body and mind. Third is the setting up a definite goal. Don't take a number of goals. Simply what goal, what problem you are having. And what is the opposite of that one? Health is the opposite of everything. Just remaining in that one. So focus on your goal without any distraction. Third one has have a firm shraddha on meditation, that this meditation will definitely produce result. Result means health. And third, one has to have pratyahara. To focus on something, one must have pratyahara. And after pratyahara, one should just sit in an asana. That I told what is this impact. After that, chanting akara or om. If somebody does not like om, no problem, like that. Or any santi mantras for a few minutes. What it will do? It will freeze one's mind from anxiety, tension. That's the mental problem, whatever may be, frustration, the negative emotions. And it will create a calm environment outside you, inside you also. That is very important. A number of obstacles are there, Adi Dvaivik, Adi Bhautik, Adhyatmik. So those obstacles will not create problem for you to achieve your desired goal. And one can have firm faith in God as father and mother, especially if somebody is of devotional nature. And always think that whatever is happening to me, it is sent by God. And thus, even death comes. So it is sent by God, so it must be good for me. So it leaves one from the fear of death, avinivesa. And one must maintain the firm belief. If somebody is Jnana Yogi, simply maintain firm belief, I am pure consciousness. If you are pure consciousness, then the condition will not affect you. And sending positive vibration, thought vibration. When you are sending positive vibes to others, that means you are generating it in your body, in your mind. And of course, it is in the form of love, blessings, and gratitudes. It is a punya karma also. You'll get the punya karma, means not only physical karma, it is the mental karma, it is the feelings also, it is your faith, belief, all these are just contributing to karma. And next one, go for the Anuloma Viloma Pranayama. It is very important. I told that pranayama is having effect on our body. So if you are practicing pranayama, especially Anuloma Viloma Pranayama is almost safe pranayama. This is alternative breathing. One can see it how to do that one. And it balances between the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. And it relaxes the body. And one can have that mindfulness on the pranayama also, so one can have the added advantage. When one is inhaling, one should visualize that positive energy is going inside. One is exhaling, that one should just imagine that negative is going out. So it will purify the body. Actually, it purifies, and immediately you can just find that effect immediately. And visualization of the body part. Next, we go for the visualization. After doing pranayama, etc., the next thing is that visualization. And visualization means a particular body part. You will visualize with your eyes closed. You will just with your mind eyes, you will fix your focus on a particular body part. And you should calm the subconscious mind there in the body part. It relaxes the body, and you should do it from the toe to your head. So it is also a wonderful technique to relax your body, especially in this situation when one is having anxiety also, fear also, negative emotions also. So visualization techniques is very good. If somebody is having Rajoguna also, no problem. They can practice this visualization technique to relax the body and mind. And next is that while visualizing, one should feel the sensation. Mindfulness on sensation is also possible. It is a very nice thing. So one should feel the every body part, and one should command that subconscious mind there. If somebody is having some problem in a particular body parts, so he should command the subconscious mind there. Subconscious mind is doing most of the things there. So it's another subject. It will take lots of time how it is acting. Subconscious mind is acting. But when one commands, if the conscious mind commands the subconscious mind do something, it will do it. But one should be in a very calm state. In the alpha or delta, not delta, that alpha theta vibration state of our brains. At that time, one should implant some suggestion to the subconscious mind, it will follow. And then one should forget about everything about the world, etc., all responsibility, and just play meditation as a game. Simply, it is enjoyable. And one must get to that alpha theta, that brainwave state, in which what that hypnotist want to do, that they bring their subject to that particular brainwave state and implant some suggestion, and it works. It's a miracle. So like that, auto-suggestion is possible. So calmly relax your body, mind, and implant your own suggestion, what you want. And one can also resolve affirmation at the state, and feeling is the main part. Feeling that is already materialized. And if one is praying to God, prayer also works. And afterwards, one must have the feeling of gratitude that it is already received from God. So it is also it is an alternative path to gain health. Another thing is that one should feel that one is just one with the cosmic intelligence. And that intelligence or consciousness is the master of the body mind. So in this, if one can think like that, his whole perspective about himself, about the world changes, especially the sanskars will be changing. At that time, it will be changing. And next, concluding remarks. So meditation simply is a science to gain knowledge about the tattvas, and tattvas including all whatever we are seeing around us, including our 5 Cs, including bacteria, virus, whatever may be. It is a science of managing prana. If one manages prana, one can manage anything in this world, in this cosmos. And one has to manage prana in this microcosm. Microcosm and macrocosm, in fact, almost they are related. So if one can control prana in this body, they can control prana in the outside world also. There is no true prana, etc. Only one prana is there, one pranic ocean. And meditation is art of entering or managing the subconscious mind. It's the gateway. From conscious mind, we are going to the subconscious mind. We are implementing some ideas. You are changing something. Our character is nothing but our sanskaras and all our problems there, especially mental problems, are there in the subconscious mind. If you want to get rid of those one by implanting the suggestions, etc., so one can gain health also. And meditation also unites one with the cosmic intelligence. And cosmic intelligence, that is the Mahat or that Hiranyagarbha. So he is not having any disease. If you think of Hiranyagarbha, whatever you are thinking, you will become one with that one. So you will be not having any disease. And he can achieve any goals of his life, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. And one should know that the principles of meditation, what I taught about, what we are doing, what is the science behind that one. It is simply a science, and right technique, the science and art of doing meditation, one should know. And one must know that state of health is a dynamic in nature. That means every moment you have to do. Because three gunas are working there. Health and disease are just interaction of the three gunas, the prana and akas, it is going on every moment, every second. So that means every second, the opposite thing should be there. So you have to change your subconscious mind, unconscious mind. So you don't have to bother in conscious mind about everything, fighting about the disease state. So it will be done by your subconscious mind as it is doing, as it is just running your heart, your lungs, etc. So it will do the same thing for regaining health also. And another thing is that until unless one is having Shraddha, conviction, and conviction can be attained by practicing and just getting the result. So one has to practice. So if one practice Ashtanga Yoga, etc., Dhyana is the seventh part of the Ashtanga Yoga, one can, of course, one can get the result because it is simply science. It works for Swami Vivekananda, Sri Ramakrishna. It doesn't mean that it will work for you also. And lastly, the meditation should be integrated in one's own lifestyle to have health as well as well-being. Thank you all.
Thank you, Maharaj. So now we will take some questions. The first question is from Joydeep. He's asking, during meditation, when I try to concentrate on the thought consciously, it vanishes. When my mind becomes conscious, the thought disappears. What one can do in such a situation to continue meditation consciously, continuously?
See, one should be conscious about the object. Now, samadhi is a state in which you can forget about yourself. In the other state, one must be conscious. So consciousness should be there in meditation. But first of all, you should start with some gross object for first Trataka. In Hatha Jagat, it is mentioned that one should have Trataka. So prepare your conscious mind. And one must be adept, expert in dharana. First try to have dharana. And then implant some suggestion in the subconscious mind. Or have some resolve or some sankalpa. Before dhyana, it's, in fact, one should just go for some sankalpa. That I'll be having meditation for this one, and one should pray also. That's why you are doing that Omkara or Akara or just praying to God. Just pray to God. If you believe in God, it will give a result. Or just chant something from our that Upanishads or Shanti mantras, some other that Veda mantras are there. So you can chant it. So you can have a very excellent environment in which you'll be finding that the different obstacle from the outside environment, from your body, mind, from the daiva, from the subtle things. So it will not influence you. Whatever problem it is there, so you have to face it. So just take help of God, take help of your own mind, have some good resolve, some good sankalpa. And of course, you'll be get result, but you have to have perseverance. It cannot be achieved in one day. So love that object of your meditation. So love is the factor. If you love that one, your mind will go there. And be conscious of that one. You can practice mindfulness meditation also, whatever you are doing. For example, I am just talking to you. So at the time also I am meditating. I am knowing that I am talking. So it is a type of meditation. It's called mindfulness meditation. Not only that, on some object you are just meditating. That is object-based meditation. And subjective meditation, who am I? I am consciousness. And that Advaita Vedantis, they used to do this one. They have to think that I am Brahman. So there is subjective meditation. That is also very difficult because the object is very subtle. The subject is very subtle. The object-oriented meditation, that may be gross object, that means subtle objects. That is called Savitarka Samadhi or Savitarka Dhyana. Then Vichara, that Savichara Samadhi or Savichara Dhyana. Then Ananda Samadhi, Asmita Samadhi, etc. Whatever may be. But you start with that mindfulness meditation. or some Trataka, etc. Trataka means just some objects be there, maybe the flame of a candle, or some point, or some Onkara, or just whatever maybe. It may be sound, it may be some flower, it may be Akasa, whatever may be. And love that one. So your mind will be focused on that one. First try to have dharana. Afterwards, dharana will be converted into dhyana. So perseverance is required. Next.
Next question is from Aritra Ghosh. How to meditate on a specific verse or name? For example, a single name from Vishnu Sahasranama and fix mind on the meaning. Because I don't know more than its meaning. How do I sustain myself in such concentration so that I find deeper realization into the name or the verse?
See, every meaning is just referring to that ultimate consciousness. Tajjapa tadartha bhavanam tasya vachaka pranabha onkara. This onkara is that ultimate sound from which other sounds are generated. So any name in Vishnu Sahasranama, whatever may be, it is just referring to the ultimate reality, the consciousness. For example, you are just hearing my words because you are conscious. So focus on the conscious part, that who is just knowing that one. So that consciousness part, pratibodha viditam matam, amritatvam hi vindate. So pratibodha, the bodha should be there. So whatever you are just having name of God, etc., think is inner meaning. And it will shine in your mind. First of all, don't just go for ekatattva abhyasa. Yeah, I think you are talking about ekatattva abhyasa. It is very difficult. So if you are thinking, for example, in case of Sri Ramakrishna, if you are just thinking, in our case, we may think about Sri Ramakrishna. So we can have Lila Dhyana also. One Dhyana is the Sri Ramakrishna's just a picture is sitting like that, or Vishnu, whatever maybe, sitting or just lying in a particular position, or standing in a particular position. You can think of that one. But it may be boring for some people. But if you are thinking that Vishnu is going, or Sri Ramakrishna is going to the Panchavati, is coming back, he's just playing with Norin Rakhal and some other boys also, he's singing and doing kirtana also. So that is Leela Dhana, that is also very important. It creates a positive environment and it will attach you to your particular deity, whoever may be. You'll feel love for that one. And love binds. You are not telling me when I am watching some comics just in the TV, or that some program in the TV, or some games in the TV. So my mind is not distracted. Always people used to talk that whenever they are thinking about the God, then some problems is to come. Because you love that one. That particular object that is attracting you. So choose that particular object which you love. Or you can generate love also, but by reading about that particular personality. And he is your father, he is the mother, he is everything in this life, afterlife also. He is just taking care of you. How much you love your father and mother and other relatives. He is much more, infinite times, much more than that. So how cannot you love him? So think of that he is the sustainer of me. He has given birth to me. He is sustaining. He is taking care of me every time. He is my essence. So how can't you love him? So first develop love. Other problems will be solved.
There is another question by Dr. Partho Krishna Ghosh. He is asking how to be connected to the Anandamaya Kosha. What are the signs?
What are the signs? Sign means signal. Chinna. So see, Anandamaya Kosha, when one goes to Samadhi, I have not discussed this point here. When, for example, Sri Ramakrishna is going to Samadhi, sees how his expression, how his physical body, as if that loss, that joy is bursting out. It's a physical expression. So in Samadhi, one can go to that state consciously, but unconsciously we are going when we are in the that dreamless sleep state, that is called Susupti. In Susupti, one is experiencing that one, but one is forgetting about the others, because that ego, the Tejasa ego, as well as the Vishwa ego, is switched off. So one is not conscious. Whatever happening, it is not registered consciously. But whenever one comes from that susupti state, one is remembering. If it is having a sattvic dreamless sleep, then one is remembering it that I slept very nicely. I was having a pleasurable sleep. If one is having that rajasic supti, one will be feeling that I am having that distraction, lots of distraction, fatigue, or if even somebody is having that the tamoguna susupti, one may feel that my body has become heavy. So these are the sometimes of laksana that one is going to that state, but it is very difficult unconsciously if you want to just experience that one afterwards. It is very difficult to conclude. One has to go to that state through samadhi only. So consciously one has to go.
Another question from Dikshant Roy Chaudhary. The calm and focused state of mind attained after meditation often diffuses after some time. How to hold the calmness all day long?
Generally, it is mentioned by the gurus that after meditation, just sit there for that for some time. And one, of course, guard one's minds every time. One must be mindful. I talked about mindfulness meditation, though in details I did not talk here. But one must be mindful. Whatever that stimuli are coming from the external environment, what is generating, what are the different types of that responses are generated by the subconscious mind when it is interacting with your conscious mind. So one must be mindful than that one and take the position of a sakshi, observer. Whatever coming, you are not that because you are consciousness. And remain in that state as an observer. So whatever happening, good or bad, let it happen. If you want to change, you can change it. But know that it is influencing Prakriti, it is not influencing you. Next.
There is a question from Tuhina. Does chanting the mantra received during initiation lead to meditation?
Yes, yes. Yeah, very much. I did not talk about those things here, but Guru Mantra is very powerful. It is not simply mantra. It is the power of the Guru, just Guru is transmitting. But you may not feel the effect immediately. Of course, actions are going on, but mind is in gross state. When you attain the sattvika state, you will be just enjoying that power of name. Tajjapa tadartha bhavanam. So Guru Mantra, you'll be having that repetition of the Guru Mantra, the manasik repetition, and the artha, whatever Guru told you, you should just remember that one. So your total mind will be engaged with that one and it will generate certain vibration. And you will enjoy that one. Just enjoy whatever you are doing. If you are doing meditation, enjoy that one. And when mind becomes sattvic, you will be finding that the joy is oozing out from inside. It's not a dependent joy. It is independent joy from the outside object. Generally, that joy, it depends on the outside object. If you're getting something, your desired thing, you are joyful. You are not getting that one, you'll feel that pain. But here, you don't have to depend on any other things. Simply doing japa, in the advanced I am talking about, that the joy will be oozing out from your own mind.
The last question is from Joydeep. Can Leela Chintan of Ishta be the subject of meditation?
Yes, yes. That I told that in fact, first one has to go for that Leela Chintana, especially in our tradition, we think about Sri Ramakrishna, Sri Sri Ma, etc. And it is a way to have bondage. Have some bhava. First read their lives. Go to that places. Go to Dakshineshwar, go to Belur Math is there, then Kamarpuku Jairam is there. And when you are just knowing that particular places, so vividly you can just imagine those things and you can have bondage to the particular personality in mind. And that bondage of prana, when it be there, so you'll be getting help or love. If you love God, you will be getting love from God also. So Lila Dhyana is a very powerful technique. It seems that it is not that powerful. Some people may think that, but it is very, very powerful, especially in the first stage when one can develop that very good relationship, love for their Ishta. And when love for the Ishta is there, after sometimes you'll be finding that their mind is fixed on Ishta only. They want to see Ishta before their mental eye. And mind will be automatically fixed. They will be not knowing whether they are existing or not. Only thing is that they'll be knowing that their stay is there and time flies away. At the time, they'll be thinking that only few minutes is over. That when they see that clock, they'll be finding that 1 hour or 2 hours already over. So it is a very nice practice to think of Ishta through Lila Dhyana.
So our special thanks to Swami Kaleshanandaji Maharaj for his nice presentation, nice deliberation, and very nice answers to all the questions. Thank everybody for joining today. Tomorrow same time, 6 p.m. Indian Standard Time, we will have the webinar again. Tomorrow's talk is by Swami Atmarupanandaji from the Vedanta Center of Houston in Texas.